Sexual harassment can be broken down into two types: quid pro quo and hostile work environment. Quid pro quo. Quid pro quo is Latin for this for that. In the workplace, quid pro quo sexual harassment occurs when an employee of higher rank, such as a manager or supervisor, bases workplace decisions such as promotions, advances, or bonuses on what another employee, usually of lower rank, can give him or her in exchange. This is typically sexual favors or similar. Let's look at an example of quid pro quo sexual harassment. Anne is long overdue for a promotion. Tom, her manager, hints that he can make things move faster if she goes out on a date with him. In this case, quid pro quo sexual harassment occurs if Anne refuses Tom's advances, after which he gives her a bad evaluation at the end of the quarter, costing her the promotion. Or Anne agrees to go out with Tom because she badly needs the promotion and raise, or doesn't want to risk retaliation. So basically, the harassment is also recognized if an employee gives in to avoid some detriment, such as being demoted or fired. For the most part, quid pro quo type of harassment thrives on the element of power. The harasser, being a manager or supervisor, takes advantage of the fact that he or she can give out benefits such as a raise, better shift hours, or a promotion. The victim, on the other hand, fears the negative consequences that might follow if they refuse, such as a demotion, negative performance results, or even a loss of employment. Job seekers can also be recipients of this kind of harassment from a person with hiring authority. For example, the person hiring may promise to make sure that they get the job in exchange for sexual favors, or insinuates that getting the job depends on what they're willing to do for it. For example, Jane is interviewing for a job at a mortgage company. Her interviewer puts his arm on hers and rubs it suggestively, then lets it linger. Jane is confused and brushes his hand off. He puts it back and tells her, "I thought you wanted this job badly." Hostile work environment. This type of sexual harassment occurs when an employee is subjected to conduct that is so persistent and severe that their work environment becomes intimidating, uncomfortable, and offensive to the point that it affects their performance. Hostile work environment harassment does not always have to be sexual in nature. It can also be subjected to one's religion, disability, race, physical appearance, sexual orientation, or gender. Unlike quid pro quo, the perpetrator of a hostile work environment is not necessarily a person with authority over the victim. It can be anybody, including coworkers, supervisors, managers, and other third parties. This type of harassment is usually repetitive, happening often, and over an extended period. In a hostile work environment, the victim's employment status, salary, career trajectory, bonuses, and responsibilities are typically not affected. An example of hostile work environment harassment. Mary and John are both supervisors in a marketing company. 3 times a week, they're required to visit various field offices using the company car. On the car ride, John relentlessly discusses his sexual exploits and even asks Mary about her sexual experiences. He also hints that he would like to show Mary some stuff. Mary has told him to stop as it makes her uncomfortable, but John persists. Mary has started dreading the field trips and has even started making excuses as to why she can't go. This is negatively impacting her performance, and her manager is getting concerned. Hostile work environment harassment can also be experienced by someone who is not the intended recipient. For example, Jane is the only woman in a department of 5. Their manager, Lucy, is also a woman. Jane's male coworkers dislike Lucy and often make comments such as, "Women are weak," or "This woman is clueless," or "It must be that time of the month," in reference to Lucy. While Jane is not the intended recipient, she's experiencing a hostile work environment based on the hostile, gender-based comments made towards another woman in her presence.